What's going on, y'all? It's Coach JLawBBall here with Ilovebasketballtv, and today I'm going to teach you exactly how LeBron James is able to get his signature step back move off whenever he wants. Super dope. I'm excited to work with you on it. Let's get it. First and foremost, I want to tell you guys exactly what this move is. Now, LeBron does a form of a misdirection touch step back. Now, the misdirection means that the ball is going to be in one side of his frame, and then he's going to step back in the opposite direction. The touch component of the step back means that the ball is hanging in the air, and that's when he's going to reach for space. So a lot of step backs out there are usually happen when the ball hits the ground. Ball hits ground, the pickup occurs, and then we reach. But for that misdirection touch step back, the ball's going to be floating in air, and then the touch occurs when the ball's floating as we reach for opposite space. Okay, what LeBron James does that's so different from other people, and it's one thing that I'm going to teach you guys how to misdirect your attention, is that he actually looks down at the basketball. Super odd, super telling, but when he's going into that step back, he'll visually look down at the basketball and hold his glance and then quickly reach for space to come back to a shot. Now, if this is you using this move, I'm going to suggest that you do not do that. But what I would like you to do is take your direction, take your attention, and look opposite of where you intend on going. So if I'm sizing up a defender here, I'm attacking and I'm looking over their left shoulder. And as the ball is floating in my pocket and they start to slowly come over to take off my right-hand drive, that's when I'm going to quickly reach for space in the opposite direction. Now, once again, as I said, LeBron James looks at the basketball. It's one of those things that not too many people realize, but you're going to see a lot of these clips that literally has him looking straight down at the basketball as if there was some math equation on here he was trying to solve. And it does a great job of just really changing his tempo when doing that. It gives him a kind of like that mental note of saying, hey, I have to slow down my body, I got to relax, boom, and then I'm going to quickly reach for space. So let's go through a couple reps. We focus on just delaying that ball. We're going to start in a little bit closer so that way we can really get the timing of it down. Now, before we start moving into a full game speed or game spacing three-point shot using this misdirection touch step back, I want you guys to start in close and really focus on the timing. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to let that ball relax and float outside of my pocket. And then as that ball's floating, I'm going to push off and reach for space. Now, this is not a travel. I want you guys to understand that your travel or your two steps only start once the ball comes to rest. So as I let this ball float, I have the opportunity to dribble again, or I can pick up. So a lot of times people get really confused with this, but I'm letting you guys know right here, right now, that this is not a travel violation. So we're gonna let ball float outside pocket, and as that ball is floating, as long as we can let it float, we're gonna touch off that ball side foot and reach for space in the opposite direction. Now, as we let that ball float, I want you guys just to look in the same direction as the basketball. One, quick reach for space and gather into your shot. One, quick reach for space and gather into our shot. Allowing that ball to float, and as that ball's floating for as long as it can, boom, quickly push off that ball side foot and reach for space in the opposite direction. Now, here's another tip that's very important to note. So LeBron James is a righty, and what he does is 9 times out of 10, LeBron's gonna use this move when basketball's in his right hand. So he'll touch and reach to shoot that step back going to his left. And this is because it's a lot easier for righties to step back going left because it allows them the opportunity to lock that shooting arm into space and at the pointing at the rim. It also gives them a nice firm foundation as they reach for space to gather into that shot, planning on their strong pivot foot or their left foot. Now for me as a lefty, I'm gonna do it both ways for you guys, and I want you guys to practice this going each way because it's a great move to have in your arsenal, being able to use it in either direction. And you're gonna see how when I do it to my left, or with my left hand, it's a lot smoother and more consistent of a shot because I'm able to get comfortably into that step back going right. So let's go through a couple of reps here now in extended position so you can see this in a game action. So another crucial tip when going through this is understanding that you can use it in a hand-to-hand exchange. So this misdirection touch step back doesn't need to be just the same hand getting into that plant and then stepping back in the opposite direction. A lot of times when you're trying to elevate your game, we want to be able to add certain mechanics to it. So for a misdirection touch step back, a great way to get your defender displaced is going into a hand-to-hand exchange where you just change hands, plant, and then change directions. And we can do this with crossover. You can do this with a between the legs. You can do this with a behind the back. Okay, there's many different variations, and it's just, once again, a great way to get that defender displaced on that hand-to-hand exchange, so that way you can set up your step back.
Go dummy, go beast, I go beast.